we want to welcome the mayor and the city council. Let's give them a warm welcome. And they will be treated with respect. They are under no obligation to answer questions. They are here to listen and to learn. We have also invited the RCMP to join us this evening or this afternoon, as this affects them as well. We also thank them for traffic control. This meeting will be recorded and delivered to our local representatives. At the end of this presentation, if you choose, we will take a back view visual recording to maintain privacy and allow you to be counted. To show on record by a raising of hands for people in favor of this deputation and those opposed.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for coming. To begin with, we do this without prejudice. I am Neil Farstead, and I'm a man who was raised in and worked and currently retired and living in the Creston Valley area near Creston, British Columbia.
I am Pastor David Ripley, a man living within the town of Creston. By the way, a very beautiful town. The information provided tonight is done with information gleaned from government and international websites and sources. In good faith, we have tried to interpret and best decipher what we have found to share with you. If we have misinterpreted any information, we are open to being corrected. At least he is. We undertake this deputation with support locally from men, women, residents, citizens, and property owners in this geographical area. We feel that today, a day of remembrance, is the perfect day in which we can support and honor through action all those who went before us that fought and laid down their lives or forever changed their lives and that of their families to keep Canada safe and free. God bless them all, and we thank them for their service to us, and we thank them for being here.
Today, we are questioning if fraud has taken place within our local governments. As it appears, they may be governed by a global entity through public-private partnerships. Our local representatives may or may not know this, and I'd like to present what I and others have found. If you, as our elected officials, are not the body in power and control, who is? Who's your boss? Who's pushing the sustainable development and climate action plans within the organizations? Do you feel at all manipulated that such plans of overreach were being slid past you before you even found your feet within your newly elected positions? Why do you think this was done to you? If those ideologies that are being forced upon the residents turn out to be unlawful and out of your area of jurisdiction, who do you think will take the fall or go to jail? Exposure of widespread corruption within the federal, provincial, and local levels of government are more extreme and more frequent, with Trudeau's billion-dollar green slush fund being the latest one. The Harper government was no better when it lost $3.1 billion in anti-terror funding. And that takes us to the next slide. In 2011, the Canadian Security Intelligence service ceases. Then Director Richard Fedden warned of foreign countries infiltrating Canada at municipal levels. So my question for you is, why are you taking your orders from known criminals without questioning? Because we're told to do it has never been a valid defense. Perhaps this presentation may provide clarity.
Did you know that the town of Creston and regional district of the Central Kootenai offices are United Nations satellite field offices, which are public-private partnership acting in de facto law? In this UN partnership, everything can be done by the signatures of only two people, the mayor and the CAO, or, in the case of the regional district, the chair of the board and the CAO. These two people can call a local emergency, which is why you had better know who they work for. Therefore, instead of gathering in their unlawful offices, we have instead gathered in this neutral place and space in a house of God, under God, as men and women.
The agenda today is to inform elected representatives of suspected fraud that has taken place, to give the restructuring history of all municipalities under Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, where Canada became a UN member state, UN member nation state, in 1992, and appears to have ceased existing as a sovereign country. To inform you of the non-binding global action for sustainable government development, whereby a UN municipal primer was sent out to all our local towns via the Federation of Canadian Municipalities and the Canadian Council of Ministers of the Environment, outlining how they were to restructure their governments. All informational items presented here tonight are backed up by supporting documents. Any of you can find yourself, and you are welcome to view this after the presentation. By most accounts, Agenda 21, the UN Agenda 21, is fantastic at first glance. Then, as the climate action plans of both the regional district and the Central Kootenai and the town of Creston do, only until further investigation are other agendas revealed, not that are of benefit to all, especially us and the earth. How we come to the history? The following is quoted from the local Agenda 21 planning guide. The UN Conference on Environmental Development produced Agenda 21 in 1992. And since that time, Agenda 21 has become the guiding international blueprint for development into the 21st century. During the preparation of Agenda 21, the International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives, or ICLEI, worked to ensure that this global plan also addressed the roles and perspectives of local governments. As a result, the UN framework was provided to local governments, supposedly, working with their communities to create their own local action plans for sustainable development. The reality of this implementation is not as advertised. To quote, "Sustainable development, therefore, is a program of action for local and global economic reform, a program that has yet to be fully defined, and ICLEI became the main source of consultation to push and fund the global agenda." As an example, a quote from Elizabeth Dodswell, the former executive director of the UN Environmental Program, stated that terms like sustainable development and environmental conservation can often conjure up images of processes too grand for local communities and their organizations to handle and influence. For all these reasons, the Local Agenda 21 Planning Guide is more than just another book. It is a lever, more like a cleaver, for changing the art of managing sustainable development at the local level of government. Indeed, this guide can serve as a symbol of today's historic transformation of the concept of partnerships. And I ask you, is this management or manipulation? Okay, Brian Mulroney.
Go ahead.
Brian Mulroney signed the international treaty whereby he agreed that Canada would join the UN global governance system. Upon his signature, Canada appears to have ceased to operate as a nation, legally and lawfully. All signatories agreed to several UN declarations, all sustainable action plans as follows. The Convention on Climate Change, that climate change is bad and humans are causing it. It's a global problem, so no one nation can stop it. We need global government. Number two, the UN Agenda 21 Charter that only UN sustainable development will stop climate change. All present consumption and production modes are unsustainable. We need global government. The UN Charter ordered all signatory members to restructure their existing governments in the UN system. And this is important. Canada became a UN member state. The provinces became sub-national member states. And we here at the local level became UN city-states. All UN members agreed to partner their existing governments with a sustainable development non-governmental organization that would help their country embrace this new green technology to save the planet for a lot of money. UN members use the trademark Sustainable Development Goal logos.
I just want to play that video.
Yes, ma'am. She's going to play a video. I have to pause.
You have to bear with me because there is a commercial. I can't stop the commercial.
It came off a TV site and we couldn't get the commercials out, so sorry. Just ignore it.
That's not even how I can play it.
I know that one of you have to leave soon. We've got about 3 more pages, if you can bear with us. Otherwise, we'll get you copies.
I think we're just going to have to keep going.
Yeah, just keep
going.
Okay. UN members use trademark Sustainable Development Goal logos. And we have them here somewhere. There they are. This helps you know who's getting money from the UN, the WEF, and the World Bank. By the year 2000, countries including Canada were being governed by the directions of the UN, the G7, the G20, Council of Foreign Relations, the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, to name but a few of the major players. Every one of these organizations is a foreign-based, non-governmental organization, or an NGO. Every one of these organizations are unelected.
Our town of Creston was captured by the United Nations World Economic Forum by the declaration of office they took when sworn in. Once they are sworn to serve the municipality instead of us, they have agreed to municipal government and regions instead of de jure, and I said that correctly, as my wife is French, Canadian lawful legislation, they are under a false oath. The public officials, the mayor, councillors, and regional directors of the regional district of the Central Kootenay became partnered with a private corporation, the Corporation of the Town of Creston and the Corporation of the Regional District of Central Kootenay. An appointed chief administrative officer, the CAO, helped implement the global agenda instead of a local one. The local officials became employees to the United Nations by agreeing to take the community charter previously known as the Municipal Act, Declaration of Office, or DOO. The DOO is a commercial UN declaration, and public officials are not supposed to take this corporate oath. When they do, they become employees in agreement with the Municipal Act or Community Charter, and therefore they must follow it. So taking the DOO gets them into a lot of doo-doo, us too.
Municipal government is equal to the organization of the corporation. The government they form internally, the municipality's governing officers, the city's board of directors, the city's laws, which are legal and commercial. Municipal government is the business, the corporation that provides our services. And we've got 3 slides here. The UN public-private partnerships. They look like government, they spend like government, but they are not government. They are in de facto possession of sovereign powers. The UN global government system overturns the rightful government and installs its own. It has possession of governing powers without right and maintains itself by force and captured regulatory control. For those who may not know, the word de facto is defined as meaning accepted as fact, but unauthorized and illegitimate, installed and founded on deceit with fraud without lawful title. A de facto government is defined as private, corporate, secret, be it the mayor, councillors, the boards, non-governmental organizations. Public-private partnerships are de facto government. Ask any lawyer. I have. For those that may not know, the word de jure, did I say that right?
You said it right.
Means rightful, legitimate, constitutional, and legal, elected, and in compliance with every aspect of law. De jure government is always public, sovereign, and autonomous. If we wonder why all our questions have gone on unanswered with regards to the climate action plans, and why our overwhelming public input in opposition to this does not get acknowledged anywhere, is because we have no public office. It's vacant and controlled by the UN public-private partnership. So what we have is a municipal government and not a local government. A forensic audit of the town of Creston and the regional district of the Central Kootenay will certainly reveal how many billions of dollars have been funneled both to and from the UN through ICLEI and the provincial municipalities since 1994. Regardless of Canada being a UN member state, no level of government or elected public official has the authority to implement foreign mandates, policies, treaties, or any agreements that violate the Canadian Constitution, the Charter of Rights and Freedom, the Bill of Rights, and or the Coronation Oath. conspiring with foreign powers to assist in any preparatory act to the takeover of our nation is an act of high treason according to, pardon me, Section 46-1B of the Criminal Code of Canada. Elected officials have all, whether knowingly or willingly, entered into a partnership with international entities who are seriously committing high treason against Canada. This is a serious, serious matter. And we are here not only to make you aware of this corporate takeover, but to suggest to you, get out of it, for both your sakes and ours.
With that, we would like to speak directly to the elected mayor and elected councillors of Creston, and to the elected directors of the Regional District of Central Kootenay. It is not up to me to prove United Nations Association. It is up to our officials to disapprove the claim.
The town of Creston and the Regional District of Central Kootenay must reclaim and reassert the proper trusteeship that elected officials should have for peaceful, orderly, good governance. Also, this is a pivotal opportunity for you to set an example for the rest of the country, as every municipality and regional district are hostage to the same situation.
To those that are elected, you were elected to form the government on our behalf. With our trust, you are our local level of government. The town staff and regional district staff are not the government. You can have the power and authority, but you don't. You are more than one vote at a table. Unfortunately, you have been fraudulently partnered through your contract, and those contracts must be renegotiated.
A rightful mayor and councillor appoint the CAO and staff, and the mayor and the council can dismiss them. The elected directors from the local board of the Regional District of Central Kootenay that can appoint the CAO and staff, and you can directly dismiss them. With that, you can work with a lawyer to verify the claims that we're making here today. It's now at the point that we really need our elected representatives to step up, step down, or step aside. Now, questions for the elected officials that do demand answers, and I'm not asking for anything right now. As elected officials, what did you sign? Did you understand what oath you were asked to take when you took public office? What jurisdiction are you in, and who's your employer? Did you sign more than one oath? What were your sign designates what jurisdiction you're operating under? The possible proof of the town and the regional district fraud may be in your oath. Who did you swear to serve? A covenant is not an oath with regards to the town of Creston, and a declaration of rural appointment of official is not an oath. I'd like to know, where is the published law that has been presented to the British Columbia legislature, debated, brought to vote, and be passed and proclaimed regarding the climate action plans, sustainable development, municipal partnerships, and public-private partnerships? If these published laws cannot be produced, these public-private partnerships and the United Nations programs are not compliant to British Columbia laws, and government is acting in a state of ultra-virus, V-I-R-E-S. Ultra invalid excess or power of authority. We need to turn back the page to a simpler time when open, transparent municipal government and regional districts were serving the men and women of their areas in their best interests and not the other way around.
In the coming days, the Creston Mayor and councillors, the regional district directors will receive an electronic information package which will contain the text of this deputation as well as thought-provoking supporting documentation of which we have spoken about here today.
We require a written response to the aforementioned questions by November 30th, 2023. I'll be happy to give you any contact details you want from me. As for the rest of us sitting here, there is no Cape Crusader that's going to whisk in and change this for us. We have to be proactive. We cannot sit back and relax. It is up to each and every one of us here to become involved. And here's your chance. So, with that, we want to take a vote. And we'll do it, the camera from behind. We want to know, because we just want to preserve everybody's privacy. We want to know how many people are in favor of this declaration with a raise of hands. Thank you. And how many would be opposed? I see none. Thank you very much.